stocks are on your screen. Bajaj and sort of Hero are the gainers. On the other side, we've got Eicher, which is actually selling off. We'll have analysts join us on the phone line in just a bit to take that conversation forward. But I think we have Srinivas Rao Ravuri, Chief Investment Officer at PGIM India Mutual Fund, with us as well. So let's get him in to comment. Srinivas, good to have you with us here. Good afternoon. We're talking bikes and premium bikes and luxury. That's the category which the market gets very excited about. Your thoughts on Bajaj, Hero and Eicher? You know the news flow. We've been talking about it. Go on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Prashant. Yeah, I think what we are witnessing in the two-wheeler is a very exciting news from the market point of view, but not so good news for investors. I think this is what has been the story in markets for the last, actually, I would say 2 years, where I think in the past, quality and higher growth has been rewarded handsomely. Whereas now what we are seeing is the value guys coming back and giving a tough fight to the so-called growth stock. I think something similar we are witnessing in the two-wheeler industry as well. So one hand, you have this competition, increased competition. I think it's not just in the two-wheeler. We will see increased competition across the sectors. And the other hand, you also have issue from disruption in terms of EVs gaining more traction. So I think overall, what the takeaway is that, when you are buying a company, valuation is the most important thing. What are you paying for the likely growth that is there for the next 1-2 years? Just because a company has delivered superior growth in the last 2, 3, 4 years, it doesn't mean that it will continue for the next 2-3 years. And investors should be cautious in terms of what are you paying for the growth and what are the challenges to that growth itself actually materializing.
So you're saying this is perhaps a structural change in the premium motorcycle segment in India, and therefore the fall that we're seeing in Eicher Motors, 10% over a span of 2 days, perhaps is not a buying opportunity because the strong rates of the last few years may not continue in the future.
Dima, we don't comment on single stocks, so I'm not getting into that. But the point that I'm making is it is a fact that in India, in the super luxury category, two-wheeler, there was only one player. And suddenly we are talking about 3 players. So automatically it will have a pressure on margins across the street. And that's where I will stop.
Okay, fair enough. But guys, I know market's extremely excited. Let's not forget the Royal Enfield has really endured. I mean, in the 350 category, there was Java before this. I think we should ask Nigel, actually. He's our very own, resident bike expert and enthusiast. I guess, and Nigel, I was chatting with Gurmeet Chadda, by the way, on who moved the market, and that was our discussion today, this big battle of the bikes in the premium space. And disclosure here from Gurmeet was that he is both a Royal Enfield user as a customer and an investor. And I guess at some point in time, we also have to take it into account as the new product, the pricing is fabulous, it's aggressive, but the product has to really blow you away. Harley has a great brand on its side. There's Triumph. I mean, these are 2 big global brands. So, Nigel, wear your bike rider's hat now. Tell us what you think, because Mr. Bajaj is anyway telling you it's time to move on as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now in a bit of a catch-22 situation, because there are 3 options out there. Normally, when we were growing up, it was just, the Royal Enfield that you're looking at. Now, in fact, you have a couple of other options as well. But I'll be interested in the on-road price, because there'll be some taxes as well that'll come about. So putting all of that together, then we'll have to see how this 2.33 shapes up. Will it be closer to around 3 lakhs for a 400cc odd, time will tell, but there's a lot of noise here in the newsroom as well because everyone's quite excited about it. So I'll toss it back to you guys.
Okay, actually, just staying on the subject, we have another expert joining in, Pablo Chatterjee, executive editor of Motoring World. Pablo, thanks very much for tuning in. So these big, shining new machines, they're making the headlines all over. You tell us, the pricing has come out as a bit of a surprise to the street, to the stock market for sure, at 2.33 and an even more attractive 2.23 for the first 10,000 customers. This is a real big fight we're talking about. Do you think that Eicher Motors has reasons to worry?
I think it does, but perhaps it's a little early in the day to make a judgment like that. I'm not talking about the stock price, of course. I, for one, wasn't surprised by the price that was announced today because I knew for a fact that Bajaj Triumph would have one eye on what Harley did yesterday. And I think the aggressive pricing that's been announced is not really a surprise, even though it's an introductory price. But it's fantastic. For a bike that's 400 cc, roughly 40 horsepower, which is squarely in the premium segment, it's a brilliant price. And as a biker, I'm very excited, of course, for the amount of choice that is now being presented to me. And does Enfield have reason to worry? It does, because it's now no longer just a one-way street, as it were. It does have to look over its shoulder at these other two players, which are very big players. So I think exciting days ahead, all told.
Okay. Pablo, if I could just ask you, what do you think, since you are a motoring enthusiast as well yourself, what could potentially tip the scales? I mean, I think that the first couple of months are going to be really important. There'll be the excitement of these two new brands being available in India at price points which are not entirely completely out of reach. So that's one. I mean, pricing is definitely going in favor. The fact that these are two big global brands, that's going in favor. What else do you think could really tip the scales in the coming few months and weeks?
Well, we'll have to see how these machines from both Bajaj and Hero Harley-Davidson actually perform on the road. It's very early days yet. In fact, my colleague is out there today. He rode the Harley yesterday. He's going to be riding the Triumph in a bit. And it'll also depend on what buyers think of the bikes. Enfields have a particular reputation for being, at least now, they're reliable, they're easy to ride. With the Hunter, Enfield also made the bike much more user-friendly, which is the reason that it became such a success. So I think we'll have to wait for a couple of months to see what buyers actually think of the way the bikes handle and ride and the amount of power that they have. I still think it's a little early in the day to be saying that Eicher and Royal Enfield should be quaking in their boots. I think the lifestyle brand that they've established is very strong and will take some beating. Having said that, Hero is a giant, a behemoth, as is Harley. It's interesting that Harley has decided to go down this path because globally their focus has shifted very definitively back to bigger bikes, wealthier customers, more powerful machines in Europe and America. So the X440 is really the polar opposite of that. I find that interesting. And Bajaj Triumph, well, the partnership made sense. I'm excited to go out and ride the two bikes. And I think we'll need to wait a little bit before making any definitive judgment. But exciting times.
Okay. Pablo, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining in. So time will tell whether Hero and Bajaj can make a dent to Royal Enfield's dominance on the ground in the premium two-wheelers. But we still have Srinivas Rao with us. Srinivas, that's one story, right? The battle which is taking place in the biking space. What have you made of the quarterly updates from the financial? We've got a slew of them through the course of the day. What are the key trends they're telling you?
The key thing is the credit growth remains fairly strong. Deposit growth is slightly softer, but still, I think, very healthy numbers. Even if you look at the first quarter numbers, we still to get the update from the research firm, but whatever early signs that we are seeing, the overall first quarter earnings are going to be fairly decent, led by financials. So I think not just for the quarter, even for the year, we will see financials driving overall earnings growth for the market.
By the way, Maruti has crossed 10,000 mark for the first time today. It's right now at 9,981, but the all-time high, the intraday high on Maruti stock price was 10,005. So that's also zoomed away. It's clearly a day for auto today. Maruti revealed their most premium car offering right now. It's a hybrid SUV. Rebadged. The Toyota Hi-Cross has been rebadged. It's called Invicto, and I think it's priced at close to about 25 lakhs. So Maruti also getting into the premium segment.
The previous high, I think the previous high on Maruti was back in December of 2017. I mean, you've got to go back that far. And there we'd hit a high of 9,996. So after many years, it's basically come back 6 years now. It's come back to all-time high levels and crossing that 10,000 level. And just about 25 rupees under it as we speak right now.
Last 6 years also the stock was under pressure because it missed that entire SUV bust, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason why the stock came off.
I told you premium is the... and I think Pablo was saying, right? I mean, Harley bikes.
Yeah.
You said the Maruti car cost was
25.
20
It's most premium
just
car.
under 25.
Just
Starts at just under 25, goes all the way up to about 28.5.
Some of the Harley bikes cost that much. I mean, overseas, of course, as Pablo was telling us, right? So it's interesting what they're doing here. But, I mean, that's the premium end in the bike category, which they want to focus on. And, of course, Maruti getting some attention and love as well. Srinivas, thank you very much for joining us. Great speaking with you. Appreciate your time here on CNBC TV18. Indeed. Let's take a quick commercial break here. We'll come back. There is 18 minutes to go for market closing. More lined up. Nimesh, of course, joins in with D Street Chatter. What's happening and what are the stocks to focus on. We'll also get you what to buy or sell today for a reverse trade tomorrow in just a bit.